They've made a fool of you. In that moment, standing there with all eyes on you, the world shrinks. The air gets thin. Your heart hammers against your ribs like a trapped bird. Humiliation. It's a unique kind of poison. It doesn't just wound you, it seeps into your very being, whispering that you are small, that you are worthless. They laughed. Maybe it was a quiet chuckle, a smirk that spread across a crowded room like a virus. Or perhaps it was loud, boisterous laughter, a chorus of mockery that echoed in your ears long after it stopped. The reason barely matters. The result is the same. You've been publicly diminished. Your status, your reputation, your very sense of self has been assaulted. What do you do in that moment? What's the next move on the grand chessboard of life? Do you lash out in anger? Do you shrink away in shame? Do you offer a weak, trembling smile and pretend it didn't bother you? Wrong. All wrong. There is another way. A path laid out not in the self-help books of today, but in the cold, hard calculus of power, written 500 years ago by a man who understood the dark heart of human nature better than anyone before or since. Niccolò Machiavelli. We're not here to talk about turning the other cheek. We're not here to talk about forgiveness and moving on. That's for the saints and the sheep. We're here to talk about power, your power, and how to take it back with such devastating precision that no one will ever dare to test you again. To understand Machiavelli's response to humiliation, you must first understand his world. Renaissance Italy was a viper's nest of betrayal, ambition, and shifting alliances. A world where a careless word could cost you your life, and a public shaming was often the prelude to a political execution. In this world, perception was reality. To be seen as weak was to be a target. To be openly mocked was to have a knife already at your throat. Machiavelli, in his infamous book The Prince, wasn't writing a moral treatise. He was writing a survival guide for those who wished to not only survive, but to thrive in a world where the wolves were always circling. And his advice on how to deal with those who would seek to diminish you is as relevant today in the boardroom, in your social circle, or even in your own family, as it was in the courts of Florence. But before we get to the reversal, we have to clear the air about the man himself. The word Machiavellian has become a synonym for evil, for treachery, for a snake in the grass. We picture a cloaked figure whispering poison into a king's ear. And sure, his philosophy is not for the faint of heart, but to dismiss him as simply evil is to miss the terrifying genius of his work. Machiavelli was a realist, a pragmatist. He was less interested in how people should be, and more obsessed with how they actually are. He saw that humans are driven by self-interest, by fear, by a lust for power. And pretending otherwise, he argued, was not just naive. It was dangerous. It left you vulnerable. He wrote, "Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved." People misinterpret this as a call to be a tyrant. It's not. It's an observation about human nature. Love is fickle. It can be withdrawn on a whim. But fear is based on a calculation of consequences. Fear is a form of respect for your power, for your ability to impose a cost. The person who humiliated you does not love you. They certainly don't fear you. In that moment, they have demonstrated that they don't even respect you. Your task is to change that calculation. And that starts with understanding what humiliation truly is. It's not just an insult. An insult is a stray bullet. Humiliation is a declaration of war. It's a strategic move in the game of social dominance. The person who humiliates you, whether they know it or not, is making a power play. They are publicly testing your strength. They are trying to lower your status in the eyes of the group, and in doing so, raise their own. Think about it. Where does humiliation happen? Almost always in front of others. A cruel joke in a team meeting, a condescending remark at a family dinner, a story told at your expense among friends. The audience is the key. Your humiliator is performing for them. They are signaling to the tribe, "Look at this one. They are weak. I am strong. I can diminish them at will, and they can do nothing about it." If you accept this narrative, if your reaction confirms their assessment, then you have lost more than just your pride. You've lost your position. You've invited every other wolf in the room to take a bite. Your inaction signals that you are a safe target. And that is a death sentence in the world of power dynamics. So, what do most people do? They fall into one of three traps: the reactions of the sheep. First, there's the angry outburst. The humiliator says something and you snap. You yell, you get red in the face, you call them a name. You might feel a fleeting sense of satisfaction. But what have you actually accomplished? You've lost control. In the eyes of everyone watching, you are the emotional one, the unstable one. You've shown them that a simple string of words can puppet your emotions. Your anger is a confession. It's a confession that they got to you, that their words have power over you. The person who humiliated you remains calm, maybe even feigns surprise at your outburst, looking around as if to say, "See, what did I tell you? Unstable." You have played their game and lost spectacularly. You look like a child, while they look like the adult in the room. Machiavelli would say you've revealed your hand and your weakness in a single foolish move. The second trap is the shameful retreat. This is the opposite of anger, but just as devastating. You shrink. You look at the floor, you stammer, you physically make yourself smaller. You might leave the room or go silent for the rest of the evening. In doing this, you are non-verbally agreeing with their assessment. You are accepting the lower status they have just assigned you. You have confirmed to everyone watching that you are indeed weak, that you can be pushed around, that you believe you deserve the humiliation. You have handed them their victory on a silver platter. You have reinforced their power and erased your own. From that moment on, you will be an afterthought, the person whose opinion doesn't matter, the one who can be safely ignored or targeted again. The third trap is the most common, and perhaps the most insidious: the forced smile. You laugh along, pretending it was a good joke, that you're not bothered. You slap the person on the back and say, "Good one." You are trying to be a good sport, but what you are actually doing is communicating that you have no boundaries. You are teaching them and everyone else that it is perfectly acceptable to disrespect you. You are putting a sign on your own back that says, "Please, walk all over me." This reaction doesn't make the humiliation go away. It validates it. It gives the humiliator a license to do it again and again and again, probably with increasing cruelty because they know there will be no consequences. They see you not as an equal but as a court jester, there for their amusement. Each of these reactions is a failure of strategy, a failure of control. They are the reactions of someone who does not understand power. The Machiavellian reversal begins not with a bang, but with a chilling, profound silence. The first step, the foundation of your comeback, is calculated indifference. When the barb is thrown, when the laughter starts, you do nothing. Not a flinch, not a blush. Your expression remains neutral, perhaps with a flicker of detached curiosity, as if you're observing a strange insect. You do not engage, you do not defend, you do not laugh. You hold their gaze for a moment, not with anger, but with an unnerving calmness. Then you turn away, not in shame, but in dismissal. You might calmly take a sip of your drink, or turn to the person next to you and continue a previous conversation as if nothing was said. This is not the same as ignoring them out of weakness. This is an active, strategic choice. You are communicating something incredibly powerful. You are communicating. Your attempt to affect me was so pathetic, so beneath my notice, that it did not even register as an attack. You do not have the power to command my emotional response. The psychological effect of this is profound. Your humiliator was expecting a reaction. They were craving it. Your anger or your shame is the payoff. It's the proof of their power. When you deny them that, you leave them standing there holding a dud. The social energy of the moment fizzles out. They look foolish. They just tried to land a knockout punch, and you acted as if you were brushed by a feather. The audience, who was expecting drama, is now confused. They see your composure, your unshakable calm, and they see the attacker's now awkward aggression. The power dynamic begins to shift, almost imperceptibly. Your stillness, your control, is a demonstration of immense strength. Anyone can lash out. It takes true power to remain perfectly still in the center of the storm. This calculated indifference is your shield. But while you are projecting this icy calm on the outside, on the inside, you have become a strategist. This brings us to the second principle of the reversal, the prince's gaze. You are not idle, you are observing, you are gathering intelligence. As you feign disinterest, Your mind is racing. You are scanning the room, the battlefield. Who is this person who attacked you? What is their true motive? Humiliation is rarely random. Was it jealousy? Are they threatened by you in some way? Do they want something you have, a position, a relationship, the respect of the group? Or are they simply a cruel person who enjoys the suffering of others, a sadist who builds themselves up by tearing others down? Look at the audience. Who laughed the loudest? Those are your attacker's allies, or people who are afraid of them. Who looked away, uncomfortable? Those are potential allies for you, people who recognized the injustice but were too timid to act. Who watched you, waiting to see what you would do? Those are the power brokers of the group, the ones whose opinions matter. You are not a victim anymore. You are a general on a hilltop, surveying the terrain. You are Machiavelli in his study, analyzing the complex web of human motivations. You absorb every detail. The smirk on one person's face, the sympathetic glance from another. You file it all away. This is not about holding a grudge. Grudges are emotional. This is about collecting data for a strategic operation. Your memory is now your arsenal. You understand their motives, their alliances, their weaknesses. You are no longer reacting to their move. You are preparing your own. And this is where we come to the heart of the matter. The counterstroke, the Machiavellian reversal in action. This is the this you must do. And it is critical that you understand this. The reversal is never a witty comeback. A clever retort in the moment is still playing their game. It's a verbal duel, and you might win the round, but you haven't changed the fundamental power dynamic. You've just shown you're a worthy opponent in a street fight. The true Machiavellian counterstroke is to refuse the street fight entirely, and instead, to patiently, deliberately, and ruthlessly dismantle the very foundation of your attacker's power. The counterstroke has three essential qualities. It is delayed, it attacks their power base, and it has plausible deniability. First, it must be delayed. You do not strike back in the same meeting, the same dinner, the same conversation. That would be reactive. That would be emotional. It would connect your action directly to their insult, making it look like simple revenge. Instead, you wait. Days, weeks, maybe even months. You let the incident fade from the minds of others. But you do not forget. Your patience is a weapon. It allows you to choose the time and place of your choosing, the perfect moment for maximum impact. It also makes your eventual action seem disconnected from the original humiliation, making it harder for anyone to accuse you of vengeance. It shows you are not impulsive. You are a long-term strategist. Second, and this is the absolute key, you do not attack them with the same weapon they used on you. You don't insult them back. You don't mock them. That is beneath you. You attack the source of their power. You must identify what gives them status in the group and undermine that. Let's take a real-world example. Imagine you're in a corporate setting. There's a colleague, let's call him Mark, who prides himself on being the creative genius, the big ideas guy. In a team meeting, while you're presenting your project, he interrupts you with a condescending joke about a minor flaw, making the whole room chuckle at your expense. He has humiliated you by positioning himself as the intelligent, superior mind. Your response? Not an angry email, not a snide remark at the coffee machine. You use calculated indifference in the moment. You pause, look at him with that unnerving calm, and say, "Interesting point, Mark. I'll consider that." And then seamlessly continue your presentation, giving his comment no more weight than that. You have denied him his victory, but the reversal is yet to come. You wait. A few weeks later, Mark is presenting his own big new project. He's excited. He's in his element. This is his source of power. You have done your homework. You've studied his proposal, not with the intent to just criticize, but to understand its core weaknesses. During the Q&A, you raise your hand. You don't sound angry or accusatory. You sound curious, even helpful. You say something like, "Mark, this is a fascinating concept. I was just running some numbers on the projected budget. Could you walk me through how you accounted for the increase in supplier costs we saw last quarter? Because from my calculation, it looks like we might be facing a significant shortfall by Q3. You have just pulled the rug out from under him. You didn't attack him personally. You didn't call him stupid. You used objective, undeniable data to expose a fatal flaw in his big idea. You did it calmly, professionally. You even framed it as a helpful question. He now has two choices. Admit he was wrong, which makes him look incompetent, or get defensive, which makes him look emotional and unprofessional. You have not just defeated him, you have dismantled his reputation as the ideas guy in front of the very people he seeks to impress. You have used his strength against him. That is a Machiavellian reversal. Or consider a social setting. There's a person in your friend group, let's call her Sarah, whose power comes from being the witty, sharp-tongued center of attention. She's the one who tells funny but cruel stories at others' expense. And one night, she makes you the butt of her joke. The group roars with laughter. You respond with that cold, calculated indifference. You let it go. You observe. You notice that Sarah's social power depends heavily on her close friendship with another influential member of the group, let's say Amy. You don't attack Sarah. Instead, over the next few weeks, you focus on building a genuine connection with Amy. You find common interests. You are a good listener. You are supportive. You become a true friend to her. Then at a future gathering, Sarah starts to tell another one of her cruel jokes, perhaps aimed at someone else this time. In the middle of it, you might turn to Amy and ask a quiet, seemingly innocent question, loud enough for a few people to hear. Doesn't it make you feel a bit uncomfortable how she does that? You've planted a seed of doubt. Because you've built trust with Amy, your question carries weight. Amy might now look at Sarah's wit in a new light, seeing it as cruelty for the first time. The next time Sarah targets someone, Amy might not laugh. The group dynamic begins to fracture. You didn't confront Sarah. You didn't insult her. You subtly re-engineered the social landscape around her. You isolated her by peeling away her key supporter. Her power to humiliate others with impunity is gone. She is a queen without her court. The third quality of the counterstroke is plausible deniability. Your actions should always be structured so that you can plausibly deny any malicious intent. I was just concerned about the budget. I was just asking a friend a question. I was just presenting the facts. This is the art of wielding power with surgical precision. If your attacker confronts you, they will look paranoid and unhinged. Are you saying I can't ask a question about the company's finances? You put them in an impossible position. They know you acted against them, but they can't prove it. You remain untouchable, while they are left fuming, exposed, and weakened. This is what it means to be feared. People don't fear you because you are loud or aggressive. They fear you because they see that you are intelligent, strategic, and capable of defending yourself with devastating effectiveness. They fear the consequences of crossing you because they know those consequences will be delivered calmly, rationally, and at a time and place of your choosing. After you have successfully executed the reversal, you must understand the aftermath. You have not just won a single battle, you have fundamentally altered your reputation. You are no longer the sheep. You are the shepherd, or perhaps the wolf in shepherd's clothing. People will now treat you differently. They will show you a new level of respect. This respect is not born of affection, but of a healthy understanding of your strength. They will think twice before speaking ill of you. They will weigh their words more carefully. Your boundaries, once trampled, are now an electrified fence. This is the goal. Not to be loved by all, which is impossible, but to be respected by all, which is a matter of strategy. Machiavelli advises the prince to be both a lion and a fox. The lion to frighten the wolves, and the fox to recognize the traps. The initial humiliation is a trap. The angry or shameful reaction is you, the lion, blindly walking into it. The calculated indifference, the observation, the patient, strategic counterstroke, that is you being the fox. And once the trap is sprung, not on you, but on your attacker, your reputation as a lion is solidified without you ever having to roar. This path is not for everyone. It requires a level of emotional detachment and strategic thinking that many people lack. It requires you to see the world not as a friendly playground, but as a complex arena of competing interests. It requires you to put aside your desire for immediate gratification, the satisfaction of a witty comeback, in favor of a much larger, more permanent victory. It is a cold calculus. Some might listen to this and think it sounds cynical or even cruel. But which is crueler? To strategically and cleanly neutralize a threat to your dignity and status? Or to live a life of quiet desperation, constantly being pushed around, belittled, and diminished by those who see your kindness as a weakness? Which is more damaging? The sharp, momentary sting of a well-placed countermove, or the slow, soul-crushing poison of perpetual humiliation? Machiavelli didn't invent these rules. He just had the courage to write them down. The dynamics of power are as old as humanity itself. They exist in every office, in every family, in every group of friends. You can either pretend they don't exist and perpetually be a victim of them, or you can understand them and use them to protect yourself, to assert your value, and to command the respect you deserve. The world is not a fairy tale, and those who treat it as such are the first to be devoured. The person who humiliates you has thrown down a gauntlet. They have challenged you to a duel of power. Do not meet them on their crude, noisy battlefield. Do not fight with their brutish weapons of insults and mockery. Instead, draw them onto your own terrain, the terrain of silence, patience, and strategy. Let them exhaust themselves in the empty space you create, and when the time is right, show them and everyone watching that true power isn't about who can shout the loudest. It's about who can see the whole board, who can control their own emotions, and who has the discipline to wait for the perfect moment to make their move. That is the reversal. That is the art of turning humiliation into dominance. And that is a lesson that will serve you for the rest of your life. Don't just get even. Get ahead, rewrite the narrative, and never, ever let anyone make you feel small again. Your power is waiting for you to claim it.